What is the world's oldest startup? It's debatable, of course. You might go back to ancient Babylon, or perhaps back to turn of the century America, turn of the 20th century America, and to General Electric, who might claim to be the world's oldest startup. That phrase, at least, has just been claimed by General Electric's Chief Marketing Officer, Beth Comstock. So, Beth, you're on TechCrunch now.
Yeah, good. Happy to be here.
You've just made your name.
Yeah, just gave us a new tagline. I'd maybe say one of the world's oldest startups.
One of.
One of.
So why? Why are you the world's oldest? And is that a tribute? Is it a criticism?
I think it's a tribute. You don't get to be over 130 years old without figuring out how to stay alive through tough and good, and be nimble and agile and know how to go different places. So you get to be 130 years old by being about reinvention. And there's also something to be said about scale. You get old and you get to stay alive because you know how to use scale to your advantage.
So very briefly, what is General Electric's narrative? How have they learned to maintain their nimbleness?
Well, I think it's being in touch with the times, understanding not only reacting to change, but hopefully being part of leading the change. For us right now, it's a big focus on advanced manufacturing and kind of marrying all the latest, in technology, whether it's aviation or power generation or healthcare, and starting to marry that with the internet. So the ability to embrace both the sort of manufacturing, making stuff heritage, continuing to take that forward, and then embracing all of the software and data and analytics, and how do you bring those all together? That's a time for reinvention, and that's what we're doing right now.
Beth, there'll be some people watching this and saying, oh my God, the Chief Marketing Officer of General Electric claiming that the monolith, the hierarchy is innovative. Convince them that you are. Give me some examples of how General Electric is really reinventing.
Well, I guess I would start by saying we don't think of ourselves as a monolith and a hierarchy. That's probably not a recipe for success going forward. I think it's much more a decentralized model. I was just here today at Berkeley with the Economists Ideas Forum talking about reverse innovation, this concept of how do you put resources in a market, innovate from the market back, create totally new offerings in healthcare and energy. A baby warmer that costs 1/10 of what it costs in a developed market. That's one way you start to be nimble. You create different structures. You create a decentralized model. We've got a very exciting innovation team in our aviation business. Not exactly maybe where you'd expect to hear that I would be saying this, but they have no hierarchy at all. It's a totally decentralized, there's no boss. There's a team, they come together on a regular basis, decide what they need to innovate, what they need to produce, who does what, it's very clear. So we're innovating not only—
Does that work, though?
It works, it's working very well. It's one of our most successful businesses.
So if it does work, why don't you do away with your role as Chief Marketing Officer or the CEO of General Electric?
Well, you still need people in a company like ours. We have different businesses. The reason I exist, the reason there's a team that I'm part of that exists, is our job is to connect the dots across the company. That's what I come into work for every day. How do I connect the dots? As I said before, scale is important for a company like ours. You've grown, you've lived, you have to be able to use scale to your advantage. So what good is it if I can't find a way to connect the dots? And here's what I mean. To take technology and needs that are happening in energy, marry it with water, marry it with aviation, and say, hey, there's a way we can focus all of our energy on clean technology. There's new innovation that no one business can do on its own that we can do by connecting those pieces. We came out the other end with something we call eco-imagination. It's about seeding new innovation. We've done it in the health space. I'm actually out here today. We're giving seed grants to 5 academic startups that have come up with really breakthrough technology in triple-negative breast cancer detection. That's something we couldn't do on our own. We needed to partner. That was a theme, a trend, to be able to take GE Capital, GE Healthcare, needs in specific markets, and say, here's how we can use GE in a different way to be inventive. That's why someone like me exists, to create those opportunities that one entity can't do on its own.
What opportunities is GE offering startup entrepreneurs? We have a large audience of startup entrepreneurs, particularly in technology, but in healthcare, in energy, in education. What are you doing to partner with people with smart ideas?
Yeah, that's a big theme for us. I'd say partnership in general, and again, maybe not what you might expect to hear me say, but I think it starts from a couple of things. Problems are just too big for any one entity, even if you're big, to solve on your own. We like to think of G as this advanced technology that focuses on making the world work better in key areas: energy, healthcare, transportation, access to money. You can't do that alone, and it means you have to partner with small startups. We don't have all the ideas, so some of the things we're doing, I mean, we have investment funds. Clearly, we're taking equity stakes in companies, but I'd say beyond that, it's much more strategic. It's marrying with startups in our R&D labs. A123 Battery is a startup company that we're co-creating together in one of our research labs in New York. We're doing open challenges where, again, we're saying we don't have all the answers in smart grid. We don't have all the answers in breast cancer detection. Who are small startups that we can give seed grants to? Once we do the seed grants, then we start to say, how else do we partner? Hey, maybe we can help accelerate. Sometimes if you're a startup, you sure want money, but sometimes you also want access to markets, pilot projects. So we've created an accelerator coming out of one of our challenges where we're taking these startups and saying, let's help you do a pilot with one of our customers. In this case, it's software visualization that we're working with a utility customer in the smart grid space. So together we're able to validate their product. For us, we can take a new technology to our customer. For the customer, they get access to a new technology. And for the startup, they get validation that it works in a new space. They get access to markets. And so I think those are increasingly the kind of things you're going to see from us.
I assume then, Beth, that you would disagree with Peter Thiel's argument that we're living at a time of a lack of technological innovation.
I think technological innovation has never been more exciting. I'm a market development person. I will tell you that it's not just about great technology, it's about great market innovation. To me, some of the most exciting things are new business models. It's not just what's the technology do, but how do you take it to market? How do you sell it? How do you combine it with another technology and offer something totally new? That's equally exciting to me right now.
What particular business models are you excited by?
Well, I think, you certainly in a company like mine, you start to look at models that have been innovated already, but you apply them, software as a service. That's certainly not new out in Silicon Valley, but for a company like G that's largely been a technology-driven company, to start to marry software, to sell our services in different ways, those are innovative to us.
Given the value of patents of invention to GE, where do you stand on the openness debate?
Openness in terms of?
As in the argument that copyright, for example, needs to be liberalized and that US companies in particular need to share their patents rather than protect them.
Well, I think, as I said, partly it's a recognition that these problems are too complicated and you need to partner and you need to, there's new models evolving of shared value. And so you have to recognize establish what's the value, and there has to be models to share it. But it has to be a fundamental recognition that there is intellectual property and it needs to be protected. But there are new models evolving of what sharing that means, and I think we're living through that right now.
Where was GE, if they were anywhere, on the SOPA debate?
We're not really in the media game so much anymore. As you know, we've taken a minority stake in that. But I think again, recognizing the needs of the ecosystem and seeing are there models where both sides get to recognize their value.
This may be an unfair question, so you can refuse to answer it, Beth. But you're a refugee, if that's the right word, from the entertainment industry. Hollywood in particular seems to be struggling in many respects with innovation. What advice would you give that industry if it's to survive in the 21st century?
Well, I guess I wouldn't count them out. I think it's a very resilient industry. I think sometimes you need to get out of your own way, and this is a lot of what I see in the kind of models we're doing. You need to go to other places. You need to look at problems with fresh eyes. Perhaps Hollywood needs people from other industries to come in and give them new ways of thinking about solving their problems.
Other industries, for example?
Well, I'll give you, these are examples from a GE context, but one of the most innovative things I saw was bringing in airplane pilots to advise emergency room and anesthesiologists on how to think in times of crisis. It was the innovation from the pilots that helped us think of a new solution in dealing with emergency and surgery situations. That kind of innovation works.
So a kind of eclecticism can help innovation.
Different points of view, I think, and understanding partnering in different ways. I think that it's not a. I think the other thing I've learned is that it's there's a lot of mashup happening, right? There are a lot of convergence of things. It's not black and white, and I think these sort of more fluid models are probably what's in order as well.
Well, Beth Comstock, the Chief Marketing Officer at the world's oldest startup, I want to thank you for for appearing on TechCrunch TV. And one final question. What happens when the world's oldest startup grows up?
Hopefully we never grow up.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much.
Hopefully that's